is hard enough. Imagine trying to do it with a disability that affects your physical and mental balance.
In 2018, I got very sick. So what happened was I developed Ramsey-Hunt Syndrome, which is a reactivation of the chickenpox virus. Vision, speech, hearing impairments, vertigo, the nerves in my face shattered. The doctor said that I would never paddleboard again. Here we are 4 years later, becoming the first athlete with disabilities to cross all 5 Great Lakes.
But you're doing this all for an important cause.
I'm doing it to raise funds and awareness for youth mental health. You know, it affects all of us. Anxiety, stress, we all have it. It's one of the leading causes of death in young people.
28 hours and 44 miles across Lake Michigan. That's what Mike Shoreman just did this week when he stepped foot on North Avenue Beach.
The weather changed suddenly. It was pushing me back. My body was done. It just became a mental game at that point.
Breathe, breathe. Take your time.
My name's Mike Shoreman. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Growing up, my parents put me in sports. I was in t-ball and hockey. In high school, I was on the rowing team. I did competitive swimming. I love being in water.
Christmas trees. You as a baby.
Yes. What a cutie.
Mike in England. I'm Roger Shoreman, and I'm Mike's dad. And this is Maggie the dog. We got Mike into hockey when he was very young. He had played the whole season without scoring a goal, and he scored the winning goal in the tournament. And Mike was a big hero that day. So Mike kind of did these things in sports that were a bit crazy, really. He's a good skier too.
I learned to paddleboard about 12 years ago. I fell in love with it. I went for a lesson and I was really bad at it, but then I really loved. There was just something about it. I love falling off the paddleboard and then climbing back on. And I fell off a lot that first lesson. I think I was in the water 40 minutes of the 60. I was terrible, but it left me wanting more. Yeah, it turned into just a love. Once I had that first lesson down, I wanted to, rent paddleboards, and I spent a whole summer renting them, and then I got a board, and then you get 3 boards and 5 boards, and you're like, why do I have 5 boards? I should have a business. And so then I decided I was gonna have a business and teach people.
He got this instructor's certificate, and then the next thing, he's started East of 6 up.
So Mike and I actually met paddleboarding. I'd wanted to paddleboard for quite some time, and it was something that I never got around to. And so I Googled paddleboarding lessons near my house, and Mike's name was the first one to come up. And I called him and I said, I know it's late and this might be weird, but can we go paddleboarding tomorrow? And he said, yeah. When Mike and I met, he was just starting to get his paddleboarding business off the ground. And actually we spent the majority of that fall and winter and the following summer building his paddleboarding business together.
You know, he seemed to love it, instructing and having his own business. From there, he took side trips. He went to India to paddleboard, instruct, and paddleboarded around India. So he just loved it.
So I was running the business and I built it up, and then it all came kind of crashing to a head. I set up paddleboards down here, and I'd go over, water safety and board anatomy, and that's how it started. So in 2018, I developed a neurological condition called Ramsey-Hunt Syndrome. It's a rare neurological disorder, and it can range from being incredibly mild to very severe. And in my case, it was very severe. It started off with just a really bad ear pain, and then it progressed. And then the other symptoms came on quickly. The dizziness, the vertigo, the vision started deteriorating, and then my ear just exploded, and then the blood hardened and it turned black. They didn't run tests until the 3rd hospital visit on the 5th day. At that point, all the nerves in my face had shattered. It looked like I'd had a stroke. They sent me in right away to triage, and they ran tests, and they came back and they said, you've missed the 72-hour window for treatment, but it is Ramsey-Hunt Syndrome. Over the course of 6 days, I went from being very athletic and very fit to not being able to walk.
So I get a call from his mom, and she said, oh, Mike's sick. And I think she mentioned that he had a facial droop. He had balance issues that were significant. He was quite disfigured.
I was barely walking. I was holding on to my mom when I was out. I made the announcement on social media. I showed a picture, and that day I lost 6,000 followers on social media. And I just felt very alone and very isolated. I was being sent for MRIs and throwing up in MRI machines. What kind of a life is this? Is this gonna be forever?
And I was at the appointment with the ENT specialist in Oshawa. He told him, in terms of what you do, paddleboarding, you're done.
Your paddleboarding's done. You'll never paddleboard again. Road trips are done. Flying in airplanes is done.
He said he wouldn't be able to fly. And I think it was crushing.
The tears just came. I felt like I don't have any purpose anymore. I shut down emotionally. I wasn't talking to anybody. I was angry. I didn't see a way that it was gonna get any better. My parents would call every day and they'd check in on me and ask, how's your day? And I'd say, I'm okay, I'm fine. And I wasn't fine. I wasn't fine. And I just felt like I was a burden on my family, and that I was just taking up space. I stopped answering text messages from friends. I stopped calling people. I stopped going out. But I remember just sitting there thinking, this isn't gonna get better. There's no out. It got to the point where I just didn't want to be here anymore. up with 9 police officers beside me. And I remember the ambulances, and it was a scary state to be in. And my dad drove me to a crisis center, to a treatment facility. There was a lot of shame. There was a lot of guilt with my family because they'd been so good. And I felt like almost like I'd just taken all of that and just thrown it away. I felt like I was a burden on a lot of people for a long time.
I think there's definitely a mental health crisis in Canada, and I think it started, lots of people looked towards the COVID-19 pandemic, but we know that there was a crisis even before the pandemic. Up to 11 people per day in Canada die by suicide. It is the leading cause of death amongst those aged 10 to 14. I'm Alison Crawford. I'm a psychiatrist at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, and I do 2 things here. One is I'm the medical director for virtual care, and the other thing that I do, I'm the chief medical officer for Talk Suicide Canada, which is the national suicide prevention and crisis line. A 2019 study showed that 1 in 6 youth has thought about ending their life. That's a very high rate. We know rates of anxiety and depression are very high. And that's not just in Canada, but globally. We know that rates of depression and anxiety have gone up 25% over the course of the pandemic.
Well, for me, I can't remember a time in my life when anxiety wasn't an issue. I'm Michael Landsberg, and I have really only learned to do one thing in my life, and that's to talk. Talking seems to relate to everything that I've done. When I was a kid, I had no idea that you actually had a name for it. If you would have said to me, oh man, you are suffering from general anxiety disorder, and in particular you have a couple of phobias, I would have gone, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever, because I'm not the only one. But I made the assumption that I was the only one who had the fears that I had.
We know that mental health and well-being are important throughout life, and early life experience is incredibly important. Up to 1 in 3 youth under the age of 15 had experienced some form of early life adversity. And we also know that when people have had those experiences, it can increase their risks for suicide later in their life.
So they wanted the picture with him.
When I was just over 1, my parents got divorced. I felt a very heavy weight as a kid, and I think that was the first time that I really identified with my mental health. So around junior high, I started getting bullied, and at the end of grade 8, I was attacked, and it was a pretty brutal attack. Both of my parents and I eventually went into the school, and the vice principal said, you know, I think this is a hate crime because he's gay. And I remember in that moment thinking, oh my God, can this get any worse?
Jet ski.
But I remember being mortified. I felt very kind of isolated. So I think the reason why I identify with the younger generation is because I felt isolated.
A certain amount of struggle is inevitable in life, but when you feel disconnected and alone while you're struggling, I think that's particularly dangerous. So I think speaking out, starting that conversation, I think it lets people, in particular youth, know that they can speak out.
For me, anxiety has been with me all my life. And depression has been with me. I mean, I can remember, it was 1998, the show that I hosted, Off the Record, the second year that we were around. I fell into this deep, dark, unimaginable hole of depression. For the first time in my life, I understand that nobody who has not been through this can possibly understand what it is. And that gave me some incentive later on to talk about it.
And joining us now, Michael Landsberg, host of TSN's Off the Record. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here.
I've known you a long time, and I never knew that you were fighting with mental health issues practically your whole life. You inhabit a world filled with tough, macho jocks, and to acknowledge any kind of weakness, regardless of what it might be, regardless of how legitimate, is unacceptable in that world.
Unacceptable? I think it's unacceptable in every world, especially for men.
At the heart of the stigma is the perception of weakness. Nobody wants to be seen as weak. And if you have the belief that your mental illness is a reflection of your weakness, there's a pretty good chance you'll never tell anyone about it. There's a pretty good chance if you don't tell anyone that you'll never get help. And there's a pretty good chance then that you will live with this illness, which is really preventing you from living your life.
My dad dropped me off at the treatment facility. I knew that I had to go in. It was one of the scariest things that I've ever done. I'm probably the most vulnerable I've ever been. And they did an intake, previous mental health history, physical health. The first couple days, I just kind of stuck to myself. I think I didn't want to say that anything was wrong. I wasn't ready to open up. But by the third day, that kind of changed. I just went and I knocked on the office door and said, "Do you think we could talk?" And that was the first time that I talked. It made me realize that I could do hard things. And then I just started incrementally doing, saying yes to things more. I was invited to be the media safety guy for the Canadian Safe Boating Council. So I invited some friends who had paddleboarding businesses, and I kind of passed the torch to them. But I said, can I go with you? And they said, yeah. They did it, and I watched them. The media vans all kind of cleared off and went away, and it was just me and them. And they said, "Do you want to try getting back on a paddleboard? We'll be right beside you in case you need help." And so I went on, and I lasted 3 minutes. And I felt like I was at home. And what it did was it put me on the couch for a day and a half. But after that day and a half, I started planning my next 3 minutes sitting down. And then by July, I was standing up. There was that summer, I was spending time with my friends who had kids. And I just realized I don't ever want kids to feel the way that I felt. I don't want kids to ever feel alone or scared or trapped, like they don't have any options.
We have all heard of stories where someone, a 16-year-old will take his or her own life. And we've all heard these stories where everybody around them, including family, will say, "We had no idea something was wrong." And we have no idea because of the stigma, because of the shame that people fear. And as troubling as this sounds, I think it's the only conclusion that you can draw, that there are people that would rather take their own lives than share their illness, that would rather die than tell people, "Oh my God, I need help." Suicide has one ally, and that ally is silence. If we don't talk about it, we allow it to creep into our lives and the lives of people we care about. If we can talk about it more, I think we can make a difference.
They called me Shoreman the board man. I'm a paddle coach with Paddle Canada. I teach stand-up paddleboarding in front of the Toronto skyline. I taught beginners on the water, often nervous at first. A lot of "I don't think I can's," a lot of "I'm not sure's." But eventually those no's turned into yeses. I take great pride in building others up in sharing my passion, being on the waters where I feel most confident, most alive. And then it hit. When shingles attacks your eyes, your ears, it's called Ramsey-Hunt Syndrome, facial paralysis, vertigo, speech and vision problems. I lost my sense of balance. I closed my business, the lights faded, my mental health deteriorated, and just 2 days after that appointment, I'd find myself entering a mental health treatment facility. Sitting at home a short time later, an email came through from the Canadian Safe Boating Council asking me to be their water safety expert for their media day. The lights came on. I had to reach for this lifeline and say yes. I called my friends in the paddling community and I said, please come help me. And they said, yes, of course. And then my friends asked me to test the waters, get on a board for the first time. I lasted 3 nervous minutes sitting down on the board that day. I've been paddleboarding several times since that day. I've even stood up for short periods. The tsunamis in our lives that take us down all look very different. When facing rough waters, we have 2 options, sink or swim. Saying yes again brought me back up to the surface. 2 yeses became 3, and 3 became 5. Things may look different when we get back up to the surface. But as you gradually start saying yes to yourselves more and more, you will feel that crushing pressure go away. The water now rushing out, the oxygen filling your lungs again, and you will breathe. You're still you, paddles up.
I have this thing, I say change is hope. You know, you need to change something. You've got to do something that says tomorrow could be better than today.
So I contacted Jack.org, Canada's National Youth Mental Health Organization, and this is who I am. I just won the speaking competition. I did a talk about mental health. Can I help you with that in any way? I don't know how, but can we? And they said, well, you know, if you want to have an event. And I thought about it and I thought, okay, well, I have to become the first at something. I have to make this like newsworthy. So I thought, okay, well, I'll attempt to become the first person with disabilities to go from one country to another by paddleboard.
Paddling across a body of water to raise money can be a great thing. But more important than that is the statement that you make by saying, hey, I'm strong enough to do something that 99.9% of the population could never do. Yet I battle a mental illness. Don't ever assume that I'm weak, because I'm not.
You're about to paddleboard from New York to Toronto. Oh my gosh.
Paddling across Lake Ontario is a huge challenge that Mike Shoreman has set for himself. He hopes his attempt to paddle Lake Ontario gives others courage and raises much needed funds.
I felt very alone in my mental health journey. I don't want kids to feel that way.
Well, Mike will be leaving Rochester on Sunday morning. If you would like to follow his journey, you can go to our website, citynews.ca/extras.
So the first attempt, Mike didn't really have a support structure set up at that time. Basically, it was Mike shouldering everything.
I didn't realize that I was planning the longest crossing of Lake Ontario by an athlete on the water. Anything can happen on the water during 3 days, and it did.
When we left, it was like a headwind. It's taken you X amount extra effort to go into it. The second day he came out, he had like a more positive attitude. We're going, man, we're doing this. And he was all like pumped. And then it was just, stuff just got worse after that.
Severe weather and a hurricane went up the east coastline that triggered waves onto Lake Ontario. Support boats go up 8-foot swells and come crashing down.
And it got to the point where the other vessel said, you know what, I think it's about time that we start thinking about calling this.
The event was called. And I just remember feeling crushed. This is raise money for kids, and it won't have the impact or the effect because it's not going to be finished now. Like it was just really frustrating.
It was an emotional final few paddles for Mike Shoreman. Mike was attempting to become the first paddleboarder with a disability to cross Lake Ontario. Battling high swells and strong winds, he and his support team called off the challenge after the second day last night.
I felt like I let everybody down. But 6 weeks later, I started looking at people who have crossed all the Great Lakes.
As dawn was breaking, the 5 lakes now behind her, Vicki Keith's busy, triumphant summer was over.
Vicki Keith swam across the Great Lakes in 1988. So we started looking at the routes that she did. And it was great because it was almost like a map had been laid out for us 34 years ago. And I decided I will attempt to become the first person with disabilities to cross all 5 Great Lakes. Lake Erie, Huron, Superior, Michigan, and Ontario. And because this all started with Ontario, we will do the Toronto redo, the showdown, as the big finale.
The focus he had and the determination he had to bring awareness to his charity and to further mental health and to help kids, I knew that there was going to be more. We were talking and he's like, yep, I got a trainer, I got this, I got that, I got a nutritionist and everything else. I'm going to the gym, I'm hitting weights, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Crossing of Lake Erie, it was from Point Sturgeon, New York, into Crystal Beach, Ontario, which is in Fort Erie.
So that's fun, eh? We've been on the road since like 11, and it's like almost 7 now. Basically, with this crossing here, you can be able to use it for like a training session for the longer ones. So, you know, we'll go over pace more. I know we were doing that when we were out in the tender and stuff like that.
Yeah. The city of Hamilton would like to wish Mike Shoreman the best of luck as he embarks on this journey across the Great Lakes. Crystal Beach is where Vicki Keith started her journey 34 years ago. And this weekend it's where I'll start mine. So I was invited to meet with her and we went over everything and we talked about her crossings and we talked about mine and like what to expect, her advice. She's like, don't take my advice, take my advice, like whatever. She's like, do it your way. Yeah, put mental health in your face for like 3 months.
Lake Erie was one of the shorter crossings, which was good. It was good to get success right off the bat.
Lake Erie is the shallowest of all the lakes, so it can turn very quickly. The weather can flip on a dime, and even though I set that weather window, it might not happen. It's all weather dependent, but it was very cooperative. It took just a little over 7 hours. There were currents that kept taking me and my boat off track, but it was a great first crossing, and it gave me a lot of confidence that I could do this, that I could do the rest.
feeling good? No. I'm so tired.
Amazing job.
Wayne Redicott. Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. Congratulations. Thank you. I have something for you from the people of 48. A certificate of recognition of our appreciation. That's a serious issue for everyone. So how about if we get a picture? Yeah, of course.
And people came out to support.
What's next for you in terms of the actual charity of it?
So Lake Huron's up next.
Yeah.
That window opens on June the 10th. So June the 10th, between June the 10th and June 18th, the crossing of Lake Huron into Kincardine, Ontario.
Yeah.
June 12th was the second crossing. So that was from Harbor Beach, Michigan to Goderich, Ontario. 71 kilometers, 28-hour crossing. This is a lot.
How's it going? What's up, Matt? I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
I think the way he framed it was, oh my gosh, do you want to come on a boat for a couple days? It'll be really fun. Yeah, I received a phone call and he said, I need another person on my team. He had already completed his Lake Erie crossing. And he was like, no, it's gonna be good. Like, you just have to like feed me and, you know, help keep me safe. But Mike makes everything sound like it's just gonna be a bowl of cherries and it's gonna be so super easy. So here's 5 people who have essentially just met each other for the first time. We all piled into a van together and drove across the border to Michigan. And I think what followed over the next 3 days was probably one of the most incredibly amazing, emotionally intense experiences that I've ever had in my life. And I am so grateful that I took that on. We get across the border and make our way to a Harbor Beach Inn.
5 rooms. Boom.
It's boom, yeah. Sweet.
Well, I got a call from Leanna and regarding this Canadian that wanted to paddleboard across Lake Huron back to Canada. A whole crew arrived and getting prepped to go across the lake.
And there has to be contingency plans, but you know, whether we want to continue ahead with that, frankly, I don't know if there's any other backup support crews.
Shortly after arriving at the motel, we got a telephone call that our safety boat had had a catastrophic engine failure and was not going to be able to do the crossing.
2 motors in the boat and one of them failed, and so consequently then there was a great concern by the captain about making it back into Canada.
Leanna, who's planning and coordinating, she was under an enormous amount of stress.
There's so much that went into this, and then all of a sudden it was devastating. We went down to the local marina and begged and pleaded. It was our first major challenge that we had to overcome.
We are looking for a possible charter boat to hire.
Okay, are you guys from around here?
Well, we're from Toronto.
There's a private marina over there. Now they're looking for a charter boat because this woman's engine blew. So let me see if I can get a hold of him.
We have this huge undertaking that we're about to do, and we don't have a boat. And we're supposed to leave within 24 hours. I think we got out phone books and started Googling, you know, doing absolutely everything we could to try to see if we could find a charter. Yeah, we'll keep you in the loop, and I guess if you need anything, you know how to find us, and we'll certainly reach out to you if we need to.
It would be easy to just say, the boat broke down, let's postpone this crossing.
Yeah, my initial thoughts are this has to...
Keith was just saying, from the media perspective.
The momentum coming in from this crossing leads to all the other, otherwise it's difficult.
Can you guys look at this end, getting in touch with people, and then I'll start from the other end, coming this way? Are you okay doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be amazing.
She called every marina in Michigan, and then we decided we were gonna call marinas in Goderich and think, okay, well, we're going to Goderich, why don't we just call them on that side?
My name's Jim Peaver. I operate the marinas here in Goderich. I'm a member of the Huron and Area Search and Rescue Marine Division and try to lead the Marine unit for that, as well as I'm a certified captain.
I phoned 3 marinas that were close to Goderich and left voicemails at 2, and the one wasn't answering, and I called back. And then I called back, and on the 3rd time, this kind of breathless man picked up the phone, and he was like, Maitland Valley Marina.
We don't rent boats at the marina. There aren't many people that do. As I learned a little bit more about the situation, I thought, well, I'm qualified to do it. I have a boat. Why don't I just look into this a little bit further? I've learned this kind of from my wife and from life. You try to say yes, and you try to do the right thing for the right people, and that's kind of what this story started to feel like. As I started to piece together all the bits of information, number one, my boat's not in the water. The bottom hasn't been painted yet, the engines haven't been run. The timeline was very, very short. On top of that, I had to have the maiden voyage this year go all the way across Lake Huron, and then pick up 3 Canadians and 2 Americans from the American shore, and then transport them to Canada. Can this even be done? Finally, after talking to Border Patrol and being bounced around to 3 or 4 different contacts with them and with Coast Guard, it sounded like this was doable.
And he said, Leanna, I just put my boat in the water for the first time this season today. And I needed to make sure that it was running and that we could do this. I have a boat for you.
What?
I got us a boat.
Yeah!
I give Leanna a call and I said, what's the timeline? What's happening? The reply was, tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, we're leaving from the American shore.
Oh my God, now we have all of this stuff that we have to do.
I've got to get the boat painted, got to get the boat launched. I got it in, packed, filled up with fuel. I think by the time I was ready to start the engines and actually leave, it was 6 p.m. Beautiful sunset on my way across. Found a slip to tie up to and thought, well, I'll prep the boat for the next day.
Very quickly, this group of 5 strangers had to pull together on top of like the grocery store and the Walmart runs and making sure we have everything there and all of the safety things we need. Then we now have Jim's arrived at the dock. The 3 guys knock on the door. Hi, we're the paddleboarding crew.
Why not? What's that?
Jim?
Oh, yeah. We're the paddleboarding people.
Okay.
How you doing, man?
Doing all right, guys.
Good.
Jim, you're a legend, bro.
Man.
Well,
Saved us.
This is going to be a little bit more like camping than luxury boating by all means.
Good.
No, dude, we're so grateful, man.
We use for a different area.
To be very honest, I have never idled for 30 some odd hours. Most boaters don't.
Yes, I just kind of asked to be filled in a little bit. So it sounds like everyone's here at 5.
Yeah, we want to try to get
on
here
route by 5:30.
Yeah, that's the goal.
This is the man, is he? Mike? Hi. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I think what you're doing is fantastic. So, yeah, I'm happy to be part of it and support however we can. Well, we will see a lot of each other over the next little bit. So I've grown up around the boats and I know it and I understand it, but there's always stuff that happens that you don't count on, and the water is cold, the water is dangerous.
34 years ago, she did this for kids. And I can't believe that, this is going to happen for kids and young people now.
Everyone had a ton of energy, and it was truly positive energy. But they're cracking jokes and just trying to, making me comfortable, showing me that they're comfortable. And what I felt was that this group had really known each other for quite some time. And what I then learned was everyone was quite new to each other. And it was very neat, because I thought I was definitely kind of the odd man out to start off with, and then realized I was only a day or two behind anyone else. Michigan a couple of hours ago, and just wondering if you want to, or should we do a little training exercise with Hazar boat to meet him as he comes into competition. I think we're looking at probably 30 hours from now. My first crossing is my rough estimate. 4.2 plus 8,
So after the Lake Erie crossing and having some conversations with people, it was pretty clear that Mike's nutrition regimen needed to change. Based on the energy that was being exerted throughout his paddles, we needed to keep Mike full of energy and full of fluids. Finding something that was gonna work for Mike and have him keep it down and keep him going was so important. We would mix these shakes, and it was the Carbolin and the E-Load and a squirt of flavors, and it worked. He was energized, but he didn't always love them. I know that there was definitely one day, not one of my favorite days, where Mike looked me straight in the eyes and was far enough away from the boat and just took the shaker and smiled and dumped it.
Yeah, so we were avoiding me going on the boat at all costs. And then it hit me, as it does. And I was like, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go.
I don't know what I thought happened to everything that goes in the toilet when you're on a boat, but apparently it's called the blackwater tank, and it fills up.
I get this, notification from someone, Jim, the toilet's full. And Mike says, I gotta go. So I thought, okay, I need to come up with a poop harness.
Jim said, well, I've created this harness thing and we can hang it off the back of the boat.
Jim made this amazing aqua dump harness, and he even made like a handle so like could lean back. And
so you can truly kind of get into this seated position that I'm in and hold on to something. This is the prototype for our poop harness, but Mike is the guy that's got to truly test it out.
And so I made sure that every single member of that team was in the boat, downstairs with the door closed.
Everybody down the cabin. Everybody down in the cabin.
Mike was very concerned and, made everybody go downstairs and, don't screw around, guys, this is serious. When Mike was finished aqua jumping.
Mike looks at all of us with this grin.
He had the biggest smile on his face.
That's not nervous, that's not apologetic, but it is proud and chest pumping. And he says,
that was the most liberating thing I've ever done.
And yeah, I've done every bodily function in those Great Lakes.
A little rough this afternoon, but it's beautiful now. Beautiful sunset. My team's taking care of me. They're feeding me. It's beautiful now, so I just want to pound out like a couple good hours now, and just kind of give it like all I've got, because it will change and I will deteriorate. I already have, but I know I'm going to deteriorate going into the morning.
Night crossings they're more dangerous. They are long. Mike is tired.
I was freezing. It was cold out. I was wearing 3 hoodies. I was wearing 2 winter hats on top of each other. I was wearing gloves that kept on getting damp, so I was constantly going like this, and my feet were freezing, and I knew that I was in trouble.
I think the first time that I was really scared for Mike during the crossings was during the night in Lake Huron when Mike's feet got, I don't know what we're calling it, waterlogged.
It was, the middle of the night, and all of a sudden I felt like my foot was cracking down the middle. And when I say cracking, I meant like it was splitting open, and I was concerned in that moment that my foot was bleeding out. I thought, I'm in serious trouble out here with this.
I need some, that, or just give me the hook, if you can find the hook for the board. I got the board. Got the board? You need the hook, bro?
Is there something to tie it up with? There must be a lever or something.
We had a rope, yeah.
Sorry. Breathe. Take your time.
When you have watched somebody put as much heart and soul and planning and effort and has so much invested in something, and then to all of a sudden have this like terrifying moment, and I'm talking like adrenaline shot, terrifying, when Mike was pulled out of the water. The pain that he was experiencing was bone chilling. It's a horrible feeling. And then to have all of everything that he's doing and everything that's been invested on top of that, are we about to end this after, you know, everything we've just done to get here?
I don't know if we'll make it back to shore fast enough. If something's gone horribly wrong with my foot, it was very scary.
So that night was the night that that I witnessed, it sounds cheesy, but it was the miracle of human strength. Like, to see the pain that Mike was in and the sheer exhaustion from what he was doing. And it was cold. It was a cold, cold night.
So we dried up my foot, and they put some antiseptic, and then decided, rather than put on the wet boots again, they were going to put on wool socks.
Yeah, he needs to put his wetsuit on first and then we'll. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Boom. How's the foot feel, man? Compared to before?
Better than before.
I asked Mike if he wanted to get back into the water, and I thought, there's no way. But Mike stood there and put that wetsuit. He put that wetsuit back on and went back out and finished the crossing.
Careful, careful. Okay.
Hi, Mom. It's me. I'm really tired. I just wanted to say I love you. I'm glad I'm on Lake Huron and that I'm coming into Goderich. I see Goderich in front of me, and I did it. You told me it was the most important one and that I had to get it done, so I did. I can't believe I did this. I'm so tired. Okay. Okay, I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Please yell paddles up for Mike from me, Nikki from Australia. Paddles up! Soaking Clary. Go Mike, go. Wendy Perkins. Go Mike, go. Stay strong. We're with you. Frank DeMarco. Awesome. Way to go, Mike. Julie Eaton. You're doing incredible, Mike. You've got this. Sending all kinds of energy and love your way.
So we saw the Coast Guard out here, and we made a quick phone call, and they have agreed to help escort Mike in and be part of the procession that brings Mike all the way across Lake Huron on a heroic journey that he's done over the last 28 hours.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's incredible. Extraordinary.
Yeah. Yes. 28 hours, 42 minutes, and 49 seconds.
The Great Lakes are beautiful but fierce. Ice-cold water, waves that can take down the shoreline, and sometimes unpredictable storms. But one man is attempting to do something never done before: paddleboard across all 5 lakes. His motivation is to prove that his disability will not keep him from his goals.
I'm a writer for the Toronto Sun. I've been there a long time, and I cover news now. And Mike Shoreman was news.
Shoreman was determined to not only paddleboard again, but become the first person with a disability to do it across all 5 of the Great Lakes.
He was definitely courageous. That much was obvious right from the get-go. And then as we spoke a little bit more, I realized Mike was also charming. So it was kind of an easy story to write. And away we went, and sure enough, he crossed his first lake. So we wrote about that. And then came Lake Huron, so we wrote about that, and so forth.
After months of training, Shoreman started his journey on Lake Erie.
And then 10 days later, I set out to do Lake Huron, and it took me 28 hours and 22 minutes, which was brutal.
So I know there were tremendous obstacles. Time, weather, health, swells. At a certain point, this became a very personal story. A lot of people were responding, readers. Canadian media had slowly started to step up, and I think people were really, as I said, rooting for him. They just wanted him to get those 5 lakes.
Now, Shoreman will take on Lake Superior, a task he and his team are prepared for. It's all part of a monumental journey, one he hopes can inspire people far beyond the Great Lakes.
People with disabilities are capable of achieving things when people believe in them. And I hope it inspires kids to dream big.
That is inspiring, isn't it? Right now, Shoreman's plan is to begin his Lake Superior attempt on Tuesday. He'll be starting in Wisconsin and ending in Minnesota. His message to the Great Lake before he gets started here: play nice with me, please.
So going into Lake Superior, there was a lot of anxiety and stress just with what I knew about Lake Superior. It is probably the most violent of the Great Lakes. It's unpredictable at times. The weather can change. I was very aware of the history of the ships that have gone down. The Edmund Fitzgerald that sunk in the 1970s. You know, it's the biggest shipwreck recorded in the history of the Great Lakes. It was in the back of my mind for the next, 5 days. We stayed at this really great little spot over facing the water, and we really were welcomed by the family that owned this little resort of cabins. They really supported what I was doing and what we were doing. And when it came time to actually do the crossing, they said, we want to be on the boat. We have to come, we have to do this. And it was very cool that people wanted to be on the boat and be a part of this. The 2 days before we went down to the water, Matt went in the water, he was surfing. It was crazy. And I was looking out there and I was thinking, how are we gonna make it across this? And it was a waiting game of when we were gonna do it. We had meetings in the marina and we went over the route that we were gonna take, and I went to bed feeling still unsure because of what I'd just seen. That morning, it was so foggy, I couldn't see 10 feet in front of me. And I thought, oh, this isn't good. And I walked down to the water and it was glass. They dropped me off with the board, and then they were going to get the boat and they were gonna bring the boat around.
I'll be on the other side.
fishing on a port wing in '87. So there's one we got. That was my best one last year. Woo! So the salmon got introduced to the green.
Captain Joe. He's just such a character, just such a larger-than-life personality.
Have you ever heard it? You're gonna hear it now. Son, that's a 5-pound bass.
For me, the growth was just courage and really more courage, because no matter what the obstacles were, you know, I would just kind of wait and hold my breath, and sure enough, he would have made that crossing. He seemed to be more relaxed with a lot of elements of it, if not the physical elements, but maybe the psychological elements. And then, you know, the evidence that we would see with each crossing were these wonderful photographs, triumphant photographs, really, of another achievement. Personal growth is probably what I observed, but since I didn't know Mike particularly well, what I observed was more psychological.
You know, if there's anything that we should be fighting to help bring awareness to right now, mental health.
In so many ways, media really is everything. Everything stems from getting the word out there. I mean, from our standpoint, getting the word out there is all we want to do, which is to show people that mental illness is a sickness, not a weakness, and you can't do that if you don't have access to people. And I think what the media does now, the more times you talk about it, the more they accept it as just another cause that needs to be dealt with. So I think media is a huge thing. We need to get the message out, because for us, the message is everything.
Lake Superior, man.
Oh my God.
That last bit was, whew, she got cold, she got angry. She was like, I gave you all day, Mike.
Every time Mike and I got in the car to leave for one of these crossings, it was like the weight of the world just like flew away. It was this huge sigh of relief. There's no downtime in between the crossings, because as soon as you finish one, you have like maybe 18 to 24 hours where you feel like, okay, I can take a breath, but then you immediately have to start ramping up and planning and looking at weather and boats and hotels and people's schedules and everything, like right into the next one. So the road trip I think was the time where Mike really got to relax.
The second that Leanna and I got in that car, it was just like magic. It was like, okay, here we go again.
I was very fortunate and proud to be the person that could be there for him. And our bond, I think, helped get us both through. Lake Michigan. might have been my favorite crossing. And I think it's mostly because of the anticipation. It was like the one that kept eluding us. It was the hardest one to coordinate. There was no boats in Chicago. There was no boats in Michigan. Like, we were like looking for boats in Indiana. And so when it finally happened, it was really good and it was beautiful.
So Leanna found Captain Chris. Chris is from Chicago, and he said that he would captain that trip across.
And then Leanna kind of asked if I would help out. You know, again, back to that idea of someone asks for help, you say yes. So it meant I was hopping in the truck and driving to Chicago to meet the captain. We hopped on the boat and went across Lake Michigan that night. Leanna had told me to keep my attendance relatively quiet. Leanna and Mike and the captain know I'm going to be there, but nobody else knows I'm going to be there.
Hey.
Well, hello, folks.
What? Hi, sheepdog.
What?
What's happening?
Are you kidding?
Jim, you're here.
How did this happen? Did you plan this?
What is happening?
Take me out of water or anything? No, thank you.
You knew he was coming, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're driving this in. I'm gonna be parked in this area. It could be like 13, 14 knots for like an hour. But that's it.
So this cable right here, you're just gonna unscrew this. That's what keeps it like water sealed.
Yeah.
You're gonna pull it, and each one of these has one that you just pull out, and you just screw it back in.
Amazing.
Cool?
Yeah.
Scared?
No.
No? Excited?
Yeah.
You want it done? Yeah? Okay.
After strenuous rehab, he's back on his longboard and calling himself the Unbalanced Paddleboarder. And he set out on a 44-mile trek across Lake Michigan, starting here at New Buffalo Beach.
Today we'll attempt to cross the 4th Great Lake in 6 weeks. You just have to go into it being as tough as you can be. There is pain. It's grueling, and I'm really looking forward to having a hot shower tomorrow in Chicago.
With a trail boat following closely for safety, he's crossed Lake Erie, Lake Huron, and Lake Superior, raising money for mental health programs along the way.
Was there ever a chance I didn't think Mike was going to make it? I don't know that I ever came to a point where I thought he wasn't going to, but I definitely came to a couple of instances that I thought were really becoming a challenge for him. The wind is likely going to change. It's going to be in our face, and that is going to be a problem. He was slowing down, and he was getting irritable, and everything was getting difficult for him. These next couple of hours are going to be exponentially harder, and the reality was, on that crossing, he was spent.
It was mentally draining and exhausting. With my hearing so impacted in my ear and with the motor of the boat, it was hard to hear my team. With the Lake Michigan crossing, I saw things that weren't there. I'd been to Chicago before, and I knew that it was a water-based city and that there were canals. So when we were coming into Chicago, It was in the dark, and I was seeing all these lights. But my mind was playing tricks on me, and it was telling me these were gateways into the city. And so I kept on asking the team, you know, which gateway are we going in? And they were just like, yeah, okay. I was exhausted, I was frustrated, and I was like, they're not communicating with me at this point.
He was so tired at times. He could barely lift his arms to make the next stroke for his paddle. There were times where you can't take your eyes off him because, you know, somebody says like, hey, do you want me to grab you another bottle of water? And you're like, yeah, sure. And you look back and Mike is all of a sudden going this way. And we're like, hey, Mike. And he's like, no, I'm good. I was like, no, you're not good. You need to come back.
They put lights on me so that they could see me, but at times I felt like I couldn't see them, and I would actually wander off and I would drift, and they'd tell me to come back. What they were doing was incredibly hard, and it's emotional.
We were not across yet, and we were starting to hit the headwind. This is where I really had the concern, was when we stopped to feed Mike. By the time that we put the engines in neutral and we were going 1 knot into the wind, to the time that Mike had finished eating, the wind was pushing us 1 knot to 1.2 knots in the wrong direction. Mike was re-paddling distance he had already paddled. This is the only chance that I've seen that failure is a potential reality.
He was sleeping for, you know, 5 or 6 seconds at a time, where it was just like, and we were like, Mike, and he would be like, I'm good. And we're like, do you need to stop? No. And then he would keep going.
We're all here.
Still have 4-ish hours to go. We know that when sunrise comes up, Mike is gonna get a lot more energy. Until then, we gotta encourage him. And he is super determined. He's gonna keep going, but it is really, really hard. It's just a grind right now.
You know, being in the dark is so disorienting, and I'm seeing things, and I'm exhausted. But the second that the sun started to come up, I felt a sense of relief. I felt more hopeful. I was more motivated to keep going and to finish.
You're the only person in the entire world doing this right now. You are such an incredible human. You have so much resilience and toughness. And if this is a moment where things are getting a little bit tough, just remind yourself of how lucky you are. All the lives that you're touching, all of the change that you're creating, the dollars that you're fundraising. So many people have you to thank for this. So many people are rooting for you. So many people are inspired by you, and you're changing the current paradigm to something that's going to serve people for years to come. And this is just the beginning. So take a moment, my friends, appreciate the view. And, so many of us are thankful for you. So keep going, brother. Love you. And can't wait to see you in a few weeks when you're rounding things out on Lake Ontario. Can't wait to hear all about it. Peace, my brother.
The trip across Lake Michigan took nearly 30 hours, nonstop through the night. And as he paddled toward Chicago with the skyline on the horizon, the rising sun once again reflected something, the promise of a new day and the new possibilities that await when we say yes.
When people tell you that you can't do something, it really motivates you. That we can all do things to make the world a little bit better place.
It was a 26-hour, 44-mile journey by paddleboard across Lake Michigan, from New Buffalo, Michigan to Chicago. He's hoping to inspire people with disabilities as well as raise money to support youth mental health organizations in his native Canada.
What a journey, and it's not over yet. One more Great Lake to go. His final destination is his hometown of Toronto by way of Lake Ontario. That is set for next month.
We got stuff prepped, we went over, fueled up, so that way we were topped up, and then I figured we were gonna have a meeting after everyone got back here.
Yeah.
And figure out what we're gonna do as far as departure times and stuff like that goes.
Sweet.
It's looking good.
Yeah. Dude, the weather's looking great.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing not crossing like the whole entire thing of it from start to finish.
Lake Ontario was at another level. The bond that I have with all of these people that I've been on all of these trips grew exponentially deeper.
There was not one person who didn't come together. Like Matt and Joe, they are the filmmakers. Matt and Joe were so integral in Mike's sanity, in my sanity, in like people who were there to do one thing just innately took on whatever role was needed.
The emotions were always elevated and fun, and you do create these deep friendships with people that you achieve things with, and those people you never forget.
Unless you've actually been on something like that and you've actually experienced what it's like to come together with a group of people and be involved in something like that, you can't really express it in words.
You know, the more connected you are and the more you contribute not only to your own health and well-being, but to those around you, that's where hope grows.
If we could convince people that a mental illness, like depression, is a sickness, not a weakness, then the stigma would disappear. If we don't talk about it, we allow it to creep into our lives and the lives of people we care about.
Where the cliff is, it looks like it's crap, but where the rest of the field is, it looks like it maybe
Like a little bit of beach there.
and it looks rocky and rocky and some woods over there.
So basically just off our bow.
Yeah.
The final crossing of Lake Ontario was from New York into Toronto, Ontario. That crossing was 48 kilometers and took us 21 hours.
When we did the Lake Ontario crossing, we did it with the vessel Not Again and with his tender. We could just continue to have a tender small boat very close to Mike and keep the larger vessel just a little bit further away. We got to take turns in the tender, and when you're on the tender, you were the ones charged of feeding Mike and conversing with him and keeping him going. And you brought a different team dynamic to Mike each time, depending on who you were on the tender with.
We kind of started to figure out who worked really well together to make sure that the person you're doing this all for is safe and able to complete the mission.
The night crossing was interesting because that is obviously the darkest, but mentally, emotionally is also the darkest part of Mike's mental state.
Well, we're going through a shipping lane.
Yeah.
And the Titanic's in front of us. So that's the thing.
This is the Titanic.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, they're going to be coming from there, coming this way, so it's going to hit you a little bit on the side.
Do you want me to light up the water so you can see kind of when they're coming?
Yeah. And I am facing into them right now.
Yeah, nighttime is long. But then this really amazing thing happens, and it's when the sun starts coming up. It gave Mike this incredible burst of energy.
It It was always amazing to see the different change of attitude and energy when the sun rose.
It was just this real beautiful moment of, I think, reflection for all of us on what we were really doing and how incredible it is.
As soon as the sun hit the horizon, it gave me hope. It gave me confidence. The sun coming up was hope for all of us, I think.
When he got there, you couldn't be prouder. You couldn't be prouder of what Mike has done, why he's doing it, how he has got to that point of getting past all the challenges that he's had. And that this guy just now went across all 5 Great Lakes, and I was lucky enough to be part of a couple of them.
It's like we were coming in, I think there was like about 4 or 5 Marine units. There was a fire rescue boat that was in the water, and then to see the huge amount of dragon boat people coming towards Mike, I was like, Mike, look, they're all coming out to see you. He saw that and he was like, yeah, and he just started giving it, and I went, all right. I put it in neutral, and I sat back, and I'm like, this is all him.
His situation is very relatable for a lot of people, whether it be young people, old people. When anybody looks at somebody who is told they can't do it, and to see somebody push so hard and to do it and to really do it, Mike will be the face of, you can do it.
It was so glorious to know that the lakes had been achieved. A lot of money was raised for a really good cause.
I was really happy to hear that Mike had made it all the way across.
I feel like I am a stronger person for being a part of this. And, you know, a lot of that came from witnessing Mike and his achievements, but it also came from the accomplishments that we made as a team, and from the relationships that we formed. We have family.
When he finished every crossing, you know, I don't know how many times I was asked how proud I am of Mike. I mean, I'm extremely proud of what he's done.
This is it. He's went through all this, all the sacrifices he's made. Like, this is it. This is like the icing on the cake right here.
You know, perfectly healthy people, physically healthy people can't get out of bed and can't function.
Our mental well-being is really a lifelong journey. Most of us will encounter distress along the way and difficult times. And the thing that I would say to people who are struggling is to normalize that, to let them know that they're not alone.
Silence is, in a lot of ways, is the enemy. And the stigma is the enemy. But the best way to deal with it is to be open and honest and candid. So it's not a taboo subject, so you can talk about it.
What Mike has done is so important in starting a conversation and in starting a very positive conversation about how taking action around mental health and physical health is possible.
This is for Canadian kids, and this is for mental health for millions of Canadians who struggle every day. And I hope that this sends a loud message and that this does a lot of good. And thank you all for coming. Yes.
Hazel McCallion is here. Ladies and gentlemen, Hazel McCallion has shown up. They're hugging right now.
We're so proud. Great. Can you turn around,
Hazel, what do you want to say to Mike right now?
I want to congratulate. We're so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
He sets an example for young people to show that if you're determined and committed, you can do it.
You always wonder, what if? Or what if things were different? And I believe that everything happened the way that it was meant to. And where I am now and what I do now, I believe I'm meant to do that. I just serve people a different way than I used to. I used to teach people how to paddleboard. Now I teach people how to become more resilient and just a little bit different.
Yeah.
Should we walk?
Sure. Yeah, let's just walk.
I am a lone wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe. But there's no trouble, toil, or danger in that bright land to which I go.